fuck, we're in for some trouble. Yes.
Yeah, I got daughters. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, mate, I got 2 of them.
I don't know if I could have a boy. I don't know if I could deal with one.
Oh, 2 girls. Actually, 2 girls are good. Heaps. They're all for me. Actually, my missus had a bit of a cry the other day. I'll tell you a story. Harper, my oldest one.
Yep.
She's like fucking out there, and she won't talk to Courtney about things. She always comes to me. And she goes, you know what? I thought I had her, but everything she does, because she sees me as her best mate. She doesn't see me as a dad.
Yeah.
And she calls me Chris. She's 12. She calls me Chris. She goes, Chris, can I have people over? And I'm like, yeah, okay. And then Courtney will go, did you say it was okay for Harper? Harper goes, yeah. Chris told me that it was fine.
She go there every time. Chris every time.
Chris. I'm like, fuck. Okay. Well, I used to call Mum Trish and Gary.
Did you?
Yeah, when I was a kid.
I reckon my man would clip me if I called him. Jeez.
Really? Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. That's a. I don't know how I'd feel about that.
Yeah, well, I don't mind. I mean,
yeah.
at the end of the day,
I guess it's just a standard thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. We rocking and rolling.
Ross.
Welcome.
Cheers.
Sorry, nice you to join us.
Mate, we got him. Hey, I told you we'd get him in.
I postponed a few, but honestly, I was at work. I wouldn't just
No, mate. No, it's all good.
I seen him on social media. He was at the pub.
Yeah.
He goes, I walked. I got a pour. Can't be that. I look. I'm like,
what are you
like
pouring?
5 minutes earlier, he's drinking golds.
Yeah, bloke's pouring beers. That's about all. Yeah.
But it's not to have him in here, isn't it?
I know. Welcome. Live a Gold Coast resident now.
Yeah, 6 months. We've been down here on the coast 6 months now.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's been good.
Enjoying it?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Just far enough away from me. Just far enough away from me.
Yeah.
If it was down there, down there at the southern
5 years
end.
ago, maybe not, but yeah, I'm on a tight leash now, so Gold Coast is good for me.
That's weird. I wouldn't have thought the Gold Coast would be a good place to come on a tight leash.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not too bad. Yeah. I've got a real tight leash. I just cut it every Friday. I cut it.
You cut it off, yeah.
Cut it off.
Yeah, that's not yet.
Yeah, you enjoyed it, mate. You enjoyed it. Like you were down at Byron there for a while, obviously playing footy as well, and playing in there for the Redbacks.
Red Devils?
Yeah,
Byron was good. Obviously, coming back from overseas and deciding that I was going to finish up professional, Byron was perfect for me. Obviously, at that time, I was on my own. I was single, and I'd first moved to Byron, and everything was going really good. The football was good and stuff. And obviously, now I met Susie along the way, and I moved to where she was in Jimboomba, and now we're on the coast. So things have sort of developed quick, but I think it's been great. It was a good stepping stone for me when I finished. I knew when I made the decision to retire that I needed football, and Byron gave me that opportunity by giving me it's not a full-time job, but it gave me sort of a responsibility and a bit of leadership to take over and do a bit of coaching here and there. And I had my own little coaching thing set up too, so I was quite busy too. So it made the transition pretty easy.
What are you doing now, mate?
I've got a concrete business on the coast, Carnage Concrete and Construction.
Nice.
Ching. It's me and one of the boys from Byron that I signed. He had his company going before, and through the COVID, he hit me up to do some days' work. And me just being me, I started messaging people I know about getting some work and stuff, and picked him up a little bit of work. And he just said, like, obviously, because your name can obviously generate more. He goes, we'll turn the business into, we'll go 50-50 and use your name behind it. So it's been good. It's obviously, I've never worked a day in my life till 3 months ago.
Rugby
well,
league.
yeah, obviously.
Hey.
And to be fair, concreting's pretty similar. You like obviously you're up early and you do your job and you get to the park. Although it's been a bit of a myth because you said that you finish early, and some days we're up at 5 and you get home in the afternoon, and it's good for me. I like being around. It's a good group of guys I work with too, so it's different. But it's been good.
From what concrete is a different bloke say. When on site, they chip each other the whole time. It's just it's just this constant. If you can't hold your own, you'll be in trouble as a concreter.
No, it's good. It's like I said, it's something different and something that I'll learn on the go. It's I don't see it forever thing. Ideally, I'd like to. In the new year, once this COVID sort of pisses off, I'll get back into my private coaching and start doing a little bit more of that. But in the meantime, it's been really good.
Jeez.
Mate, you had a bit of a checkered career, to say the least. I mean, we'll get into that a little bit later on. But obviously, your partner you mentioned before, Sue, mate, how's all that going? Obviously, with the controversy of your career, and then the show that she was on, it was pretty controversial. How's that transition been? You've got people, and I talk about it all the time with you. they sit there and they throw stones at you through your whole career. And like I said, she came from a show that was a little bit checkered. But mate, how's the transition? How's it been with with her being in the public eye as well?
I guess
along with yourself.
Well, when I first met Susie, I didn't know she was on the show. I just stalked her Instagram. She stalked mine. So I was back and forth. We met one night, and then spent the weekend in Byron together. And 2 weeks later, I was messaging her to catch up. And she goes, "Oh, I'm going to Sydney." And I said, "Oh, yeah, what for?" But we'd been speaking quite a bit. And she goes, "Oh, I can't really tell you." And I'm like, "Well, this isn't for me. I need to know."
How's this relationship starting?
I need to know what's going on. And then she wouldn't tell me. Then we caught up before she was going to Sydney, and she sort of told me. And I'm like, "Oh, I couldn't give a rat's ass. What TV show you on? Who cares?" And then obviously it started going on, and people started to sort of get inklings that we're together and stuff. And I got a few people ring me, and I just sort of said, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." And then once the show aired, I started getting attacked by people that love the show. "I can't believe you would get Susie to cheat on Billy." I'm going, it was aired 6 months ago. Like, calm down. And like everyone thought it was live on TV, and I was doing the wrong thing. So, but to answer that, I think because mine and Susie's relationship grew so quick, and then once the show had started, I didn't watch it because I just said I didn't need to. I'd sort of would piss me off. So, but then I seen the criticism she copped, and I knew that wasn't the person. She's got
she's a good chick.
She's got an angry side to her, and I wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of it.
She's female,
she would snap. She's female. So, and then I started to see how she was sort of left out on her own from. Like the show sort of, once they finished, they just left out and sort of fend for themselves. And she copped a fair bit of stuff. And because I tried to help her through a lot of it, we sort of grew stronger because some days she'd be crying. "Why are they saying this?" I said, "Because they're allowed to say this. And they're allowed to do what they want. You sign the contract for whatever the minimal money they get. And people should think before they do go on shit shows like that, because they don't get nothing out of it. Obviously, there's people that do get bigger things from it, but she was never going to get anything bigger from it because the way the show betrayed her."
Yeah.
Mate, how did your experience, obviously, with playing football, being in that public eye, how did you, like you touched on it before, how did you get it through it? Did you have to sit down with her a lot to talk about people's opinions and so on and so forth? Yeah,
because I guess because I'm so relaxed and I don't really give a rat's ass, similar to what you're like. I don't give a rat's ass to what anyone would say. So she's like, "Oh, how do you deal with it?" Well, don't look at Instagram. Don't look at the news. Fuck, it's a Daily Mail writing it, which isn't even a thing.
Is it like a publication? Is it like a credible one?
Daily
Mail?
I'll read the paper, mate.
They've always got a scoop, mate. Yeah. But I guess, so I just helped her as much as I could, obviously, just by supporting her through it. And
the bullshit thing about those shows, or actually no, what the media does is they have no recourse. So they can put out any article they want and say that, you came in here, you split them up, and you were the wedge in between them both. They were a happily married couple until you showed up. They can say that.
Yeah.
And then if that's total bullshit, you can go on your online, you're following and say, "No, it's bullshit," obviously. Yeah. And people that know it's bullshit. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So they can make up complete bullshit. And the chances are, like, even if you wanted to, you could sue them if you wanted to, but the chances are you're not going to go down that road because it's not worth time and energy and money.
Yeah.
Just to clear your name.
Yeah, I get it was just.
It's just that's what pisses me off.
People going, "Do you want to do an exclusive story?" Exclusive story of what? Like it's.
Yeah.
It's a.
But the thing is, like you said, people sign up for those shows. They've got to expect those criticism, and I guess, like you said, like you go, I had people ring me and want to do an exclusive. Like, at the end of the day, we're a couple. We're in love. We're feeling that road. We don't need to give an exclusive.
Yeah.
You've seen it all.
Does she have to go on? Does she have to go on the back burner when the show was on? Like,
so.
Did you guys have to hide?
She wasn't allowed to say that we were dating until her contract had expired with Channel 9 or what it was. So, like, they had rules to say that they had, they'd take over their social media and stuff. And they were writing on Instagram was them. So she didn't actually have access to.
Wow.
And she goes, "Don't comment on any of my stuff. Don't write anything." So it's like that they pretty much get their identity taken from Channel 9 while they're on the show. And
it's heavy.
And I guess the ratings up and down,
what scares me is about reality shows is people think it's like reality,
Yeah.
and like they've got this thing in their head like it's reality when it's it's a show, like it's a show.
Or they
You have
actually
With producers. And what are producers?
yeah,
The producers manipulate a
I saw a thing
storyline.
online and it was like one of those Married at First Sights or The Bachelor or whatever it was, and they were showing all the takes they were doing. So the chick would walk out and bump into someone, and then they got cut, and then she come back out and go.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh,
And then same is similar to like, I guess for any person that's got like quite a following or whatever, it's sort of built up over time. So as I say, as a sportsman, because of what I know, is that you train to get through things, to handle different situations where when you're on that show, you either scout or you sign up to go on it. You're thrust in front of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people on TV. Your Instagram goes from 1,000 followers to 100,000.
yeah,
Everyone wants to talk to you. You're not trained to do it. Everything's all overwhelmed. And while it's there, it's fine. And they think, oh, I'm on TV now. I've made it.
yep,
Next minute, the show shuts. They're signing up new contestants.
yeah.
They're done.
5 minutes of fame's gone.
He's gone, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they all just they do something stupid. Weird.
And get with Toddy.
Yeah.
Man, we're going to talk to Susie. Look at the actually should have brought her in and
Yeah.
spoke some sense into it.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, mate, it's it's a decision that they make. Like the best thing that you said is, they do go from their normal lives, which is normal lives, their 9 to 5s, they get 1,000 or 1,500 followers, and then at least with rugby league, you got the young kids. They come through. They're within sporting organisations, whether it be a singular sport of golf or tennis. They've got that backing behind them, and people, managements that can understand, that have been there all before, and they get thrust into it. They get thrown into the limelight, and then all of a sudden they shit themselves when something happens. But I guess with Suze having you next to her, guiding her through that little path, I guess why now. I don't know if we can break the news. You're going to be a
dad.
You're going to be a dad.
Yeah,
so
March
that's
next year. 31st of March next year. He's due.
yes.
Yes.
That's a little.
It's quite exciting for me. It's it keeps the Carney name alive and another menace to maybe.
A little rat bag.
Oh, you know what? I've got the popcorn ready for 20 years. I've got the a little young rooster or Titan. Might be a Titan. Might be a
maybe
Laker.
the NRL will block him.
I know.
Well, just don't teach him any of your bad habits that you got into trouble for, and he should be right. But
he'll be staying away. I'll give him the scrapbook one day. When he's 18th, he can read my scrapbook.
mate, I give my kids my YouTube highlights clip every night and just tell them they're going to watch it. But
That's what puts them to sleep. Every night, like, oh, God, to watch Dad's thing again.
oh yeah, they'd be like, oh, not again, Dad. Fuck, can we have another dad? Where's the other dad?
Knock it off, Chris.
But I guess receiving that news that you be a dad. I mean, you've reached the highs of rugby league, mate. How was that experience? Because I know, we all know what it's like when we find out we're going to be a dad. What did you? How was your feelings?
Yeah, I was like pretty excited. Obviously, I had goosebumps, and I guess for me straight away, I thought about my dad that's passed away, and I got quite emotional about it because I rang my mum straight, I rang my sister straight away, and I felt like I needed to ring him. Obviously, I can't because he's passed away, but that it sort of I got a little bit emotional after it because I guess for me to feel so proud, he would be so proud. So little things like that, you miss along the way, I guess. But yeah, that was probably the emotion that I felt straight away. And now 2 days ago we found out it's going to be a little boy. He's just it's a dream come true, and obviously Susie's got a daughter herself, so it's worked out well. And I said to Susie, have the baby 6 months and we're going again.
I get your tribe.
Yeah.
Well, see, I tried to do that with Courtney. We had Harper, and then obviously two of them came. We had twins, so she goes, that's it. I'm pregnant twice, that's it. But
yeah,
it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling. I mean, anyone who experiences. I mean,
all your priorities go.
Oh, they're out the window.
You got a list of. I always say you got like a list of your top 5 priorities. Everything goes down one.
Yeah,
and like you just have a new number one.
Yeah, well,
that's all it comes down to.
That's one thing Mum said to Susie. He goes, oh, well, you won't have to worry about him going to the pub then.
Yeah.
Goes,
she should talk to Courtney.
Slow him right up.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. I promise you, it does not. It actually accelerates.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're talking to the wrong person. So I've always wondered this as well. Like you're free and easy to come on here and chat, right? You can chat about whatever you want to chat. There's no repercussions.
Yeah.
Would something like this, like a podcast or a long form conversation? I know you're on Ice Project as well. Ice Project as well, chatting with him. Would that long form conversation have helped you previously? You know, you went through dramas, like you had, let's say, 3 or 4 major dramas you went through.
Yeah.
Without going too deep into them, you're probably, sick of talking about them. Would
We'll
that
touch
have
on it,
helped you?
mate.
Yeah, we'll certainly go into it. But no, would that have helped you to come on and go, look, spend an hour, spend half an hour, spend 45 minutes, whatever it is, chatting about and sort of putting a human face on the issue? Because it's really, really easy to see you on the news and see the shit you went through or shit you did and be like, oh, fuck. What an idiot.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, if it was back then, you could use this as a platform to tell your story and so people could understand or not understand, because I guess some of the silly things are done I don't really understand. So it's sort of where you see it go on the media and the media just hounds it and just bubbles it up, and that's what it is.
Their spin on it.
Yeah, their spin. So definitely be good to do something like this and to speak.
Would you have been allowed to?
No, probably not. Obviously,
that's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got. It's up to you how you want to do it, but for me, straight away, you go straight to the main source for me was the media, was Danny Widler. He would always cover my stories, negative or positive, and then he'd obviously try and put a positive on it because even though he sort of not ratted me, but done his job, I guess, but then would meet me in a place where no one would know where I was to get my side of the story.
Actually, he was all right. Widler was.
Yeah.
I know that he's got I don't know with you, but I'm guessing that. I think he liked the bad boys. Like he sort of gravitated towards me. He used to, I mean, I'd have my fair share of bad press by him.
That's
but
in the industry. That's called repeat customers.
But 90% of the time,
you want to go to the bad boys because you know they're going to stuff up again.
Well, I think because he gets so much information. Like he's messaging me before and said, "Oh, I'm hearing this. Is it true or is it not true?"
Yep.
If it's true, you have to go, or if it's 50-50 and you think he doesn't know, but he's got a little bit of it. He's
fishing.
You got to speak to him because he's going to help you try and get out of it.
Yeah.
Because then you don't want him on your bad side. If you go talk to someone else and he jumps on the bandwagon of the guy that's going to hammer you, good luck.
Yeah.
Like you'll be just up against the ropes copping it because he's so powerful. He's got Channel 9 behind him and he can get that exclusive out there.
So you see his number come up. You're like, oh, your heart must sink.
He had an anxiety attack. So did I, actually.
Sorry, mate. Sorry to take you back there.
Yeah, some morning.
I had an anxiety, especially Sunday mornings.
Waking up and going, what's he ringing for? Getting the WhatsApp. What happened last night? Is everything sweet? Yeah, all good.
Yeah.
How do I get home anyway?
Is this the Wallara Police? Is this the Bondi Police? Bondi
private
Junction?
number was a killer.
Yeah.
But
he was. I mean, he was good to me. Like, he used to write. But then he'd give you that opportunity because social media. Back when I was there and when you first started, like you got into a fair bit of trouble. Like you could have watered it down on your own social media. You can use your social media as a good platform for yourself. That's what a lot of them good. If something comes out about a story or a fan or a contract negotiation, some of the players are pretty good with their social media. They just hammer and go, hang on, I've got 50,000. And most of the news articles are following them anyway. So they've got an opportunity to answer back to a little bit of criticism
and
or something.
Truth, it's coming from the horse's mouth. Then when someone, I think when Josh Reynolds got pulled over and done the roadside drug thing, straight away he went straight on Twitter, straight on his Instagram, and explained the story because he knew what was right. He knew what had happened in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah,
obviously there's speculation, breaking news may have happened. Well, he went straight away. Yes, it's happened. This is what happened. Move on.
Yeah. You're guilty until proven innocent, in that scenario. But you're better to get on there and go.
And you can jump on where sometimes if you can't front foot him because you fucked up. So
you be on as much of a front foot as you want.
You can't get and go, no, I didn't do that because
especially when there's a photo.
Exactly. So there is ways around it if you're confident that you haven't done the wrong thing and you can get on there and do it. But if you get on there and obviously say you haven't done it and then later on proves that you have, you look like the idiot. But at the end of the day, I guess you're just trying to fend for yourself.
Because it's like and that's the reason I talk about like things like this, because this is the court of public opinion. And if you're just going to see a 30-second snippet on the news of what you did, people are going to judge for themselves. But if you sit down for 45 minutes and go, look, I was just wasted.
Yeah.
Whatever, like actually talk your way through it.
Yeah.
I guarantee you might not win everybody over and you probably never are going to.
Yeah, you're not going to win everyone over.
But at least you're going to go, oh, well, he's human and everyone can relate to it a little bit.
Yeah.
I just think that whole 30-second, that whole 40-second just accusational shit is just, that's almost, I would like to think on the way out
Yeah,
or there's a way that people can sort of collaborate and make sure that goes away, if that makes sense. Like if you say, example, he rings you and goes, oh, "This is the go." You ring something like, I've heard this, and you go, "Fuck, I got to get on the front foot here."
Yeah.
You ring up and go, "I'm in. Let's chat."
Yeah, go. Yeah,
Here's what I
come
did.
in, and get it out that way.
Get it out that way. At least you can have your voice.
Or on your social media and stuff like that. That's like, I guess when I done my book, the most coverage I got out of it, or the most like sort of feedback I got, was when I done the 60-minute story, because it went on and it was like raw emotion, because they can see it in your eyes that you're talking about it, and while it hurts, you're getting it out there. Like obviously people can read the book and you sort of get a little bit engaged with it, but I think when you're hearing someone's voice, or then if you obviously can visual and you see them in front of you, it's completely different, because they can understand that. Yeah, you may have learnt from it, but you can sort of see that, like the raw emotion, that how someone feels.
Mate, who rang you? Who rang you about the bubbler? Who rang when that came out? who rang you about that? Like, because I mean, we talk about the anxieties of phone calls. Like, mate, that obviously that whole thing, I've got an opinion on it. It shouldn't have went out, but with these things, with cameras on them, photos, whatever's on them, mate, you can get it out there. Who, mate, that phone call.
Well, so I got so when it first came out, everyone thought it was the night that I was out. So the Monday morning when it came out, I thought it was that Sunday, but it was the previous week or two before. So I got a phone call from my accountant / manager, good mate. He's ringing me and he sent me a photo and goes, "What the fuck's this?" I was going to piss on his own. Shut up. And then
that's a bubbler, that's what that is.
And I sort of like just dissed him, like, "Oh, fuck up, whatever."
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. And then he's ringing me, like barking down the phone. I'm like, "Oh shit, this is like serious." And then a few of the other boys that was with going, "Oh, what's this shit?" And I'm going, "Oh." So then I woke up the next morning. Then obviously the club had rang. Steve Noyce had, and he was quite not calm, but like quite sort of comforting, saying, "No, everything will be fine. Like obviously it's a little slip up, blah blah blah." Comforted me sort of the whole day, and Wade and that was stayed at my house the night before, so we'll always sort of sitting around all day, all having a chat and thinking, "Oh, the CEO says it's fine. We'll get through it. Do the media I've got to do, and say sorry." And you haven't hurt anyone. You sort of move on from it. So we sort of went through that whole day, and we're working out like when it actually was, how it got out, and Steve Noyce come over and we had a chat, and and then it wasn't until that night when obviously everything sort of crashed and burned, we were just sitting there watching TV, and I looked over to Wade and his face was white, and he looked at me and goes, "Did you just get sacked?" I went, "No, you've been with me. Like, what are you talking about?" He goes, "Oh, he goes, "Oh, don't worry." And I said, "No, what?" He goes, "Oh, we just got an email from the club saying don't no one answer their phones or comment on the decision of the club to terminate Todd's contract today," or something. And I'm going, "What the?" And so I've tried to ring Steve Noyce so many times, he wouldn't answer.
So he distanced himself from you.
So then I rang straight away, which was one of the board members, Craig Airy, was overseas at the time, and he rang me that afternoon. He said, "Look, there won't be a decision made because I'm overseas, and it's got to be a vote between us all, and we need to see you in front of you." So I'm like, "Oh, this is good." So Steve Noyce didn't answer. Then later that night, he did answer and go, "Oh, mate," he goes, it's not up to me." I said, "Well, you've been telling me that you're going to see me tomorrow morning, and we'll work out like what's the next steps." So then Craig Airy got back from his holiday, and he's seen me. He sat down with me and my mum in a cafe, similar to this, and goes, "Oh, look, I'm going to get you reinstated. This is bullshit. Like, they didn't take my vote, or whoever's jumped in and just has done it. It's wrong, blah, blah, blah." So it went sort of really quick from him saying, "Oh, everything will be fine," to the worst thing possible, I guess.
So Steve Noyce, man, I'm going to get this. I've got to let this sort of half marinate. So this breaks, the story breaks. It's a big story. Well, it's been blown. I mean, because at the end of the day, like Todd said, nothing happened. Didn't do anything to hurt anyone. Didn't do anything to. There was no malice. That it was a photo that was taken, which is another conversation. I'd love to know who the bloke was because he leaked it. But I'm just trying to wrap my head that he sat down with you all day, giving you the listen, we're going to work through this together as a club, which, they've got the due diligence to do that. They've got to sit down. They've got to, but then I can't fathom where he hasn't told you that you're gone, but you get an email saying, don't comment on the fact that we're going to terminate Todd's contract. Like, mate, the whole day must have been pretty confusing for you to go from, okay, I'm sitting here with the CEO, the guy who makes the decisions around the club, to all of a sudden now everything's gone. So so
that was and then obviously one of the board members, which I was close with, was saying, no, this isn't right. So you sort of like thrown between two different sort of emotions, and you're like, oh, what do you do? Did the NRL step in and go, well, you have got to do it, or we're going to do it? We don't know. But it sort of happened so quick, and I accepted it and sort of done the interview with Weidler, as we was talking about before, and just sort of, I guess for me at that time I thought, because it's happened before so much at Canberra, but like more at Canberra than the Roosters, because I was released from the Roosters and I knew where I was going before I was released. So Nick gave me that sort of
leeway.
So he said, I'm not going to sack you. I'd like you to work your shit out and then stay around, or I can let you go, you find a club, and then we'll do it. And it's going to look ugly anyway, so you're going to have to cop whatever it does. And then I thought, thinking with the Cronulla thing straight away, I'm going to maybe be manager of Ringbound Wednesday, I'm going to go to a new club. But it didn't happen like that, because obviously the NRL had stepped in again and said, no, we're not going to take another contract. You got to do this, this and this. So then obviously that's when I ventured off over to France.
I've been sacked from 2 clubs. I mean, that unknown, that uncertainty, because you sign a contract for, multiple years, whether it's 1 or 3 years. Sometimes if you're good enough, 5 years. You always feel like you got that security blanket when you're coming to the end of a contract. You got 6 months to work your game out. You want to be on your best behaviour. You want to be playing the best football you got. Then give your manager that opportunity to go, you know what, we can choose between that club, and that club. But when you get sacked, it feels like, honestly, I don't know what it felt like for you, Toddy, but it felt like you're walking down Oxford Street nude. Like, it just felt you're that exposed. Like everything. I did a lot of things wrong as well, but you felt that exposed. You felt like you had no friends. It felt like there was no one there to comfort you. There was no one there to say, right, okay, let's go. We're going to train tomorrow, and we're going to play in the weekend. Mate, it must have been hard but I still had the backing of the NRL. Like, I got sacked a couple of times for misdemeanors off the field, but I still had the backing of the whole organisation, mate. When you got the news that they weren't going to register your contracts, mate?
Well, yeah, I guess it was disappointing, because I had clubs interested, but the clubs wouldn't come out and say that they're willing to do it. Like, this was behind, through my manager, through conversations. Cronulla tried to even re-sign me at one point. Flano wanted to re-sign me when he wasn't allowed to be dealing with players. So for me, it was sort of the same thing. I was bouncing between two emotions, because I was over in France and the cutoff would come and my manager would be like, someone's keen, they want to sign you. It's got to, you've got to get through the green light. And obviously,
were you over France too? Were you fed up over there? You want to get home?
I just never really wanted to go over to play in the Super League, because I always just wanted to play in Australia, and obviously because I had to, I went over and done it, and I enjoyed it. But it just wasn't what I'd set out to wanted to do. So I didn't play my best football. Didn't give it my all. I obviously still trained hard and played well, but it felt different, because I wanted to be at home. I felt I knew I was good enough to be at home to play, but I'd stuffed up a few times, and I guess trying to get that one more chance, I guess. And people go, well, you got that one more chance and you stuffed that up. But I think when you go away and you lost something, you're in another country, and you sort of
appreciate it.
Yeah, you appreciate what you've actually lost. And always, like, when I first got back from doing the Byron thing, and people go, oh, like, if you gave yourself a chance, you'd get back in there again. And I thought, well, yeah, I would, but I don't know, like, didn't want to go back into all them environments of, not that I wasn't confident that I could play well, but just I didn't want to the headache of And then the unknown, because like I might have fucked up, and then people go, well,
No, well,
you've done it again. So it's like, well, and I couldn't 100% say that I wouldn't do it, because sometimes you wake up and you've done the wrong thing, but it's quite. It's good
you feel
now
like
that there's no spotlight.
You probably both can answer this. Like, do you feel sometimes, and I look at like footy players now, and they probably have and you have to probably have a little bit of this to be in such a competitive sport, in such a spotlight, and do, you know, amazing things. Do you have an air of invincibility about you, where you go, and it's probably when you go out on the beers too, or whatever you go out on.
It's more so
pub.
arrogance, I think. And I was the most arrogant. I was the most arrogant young kid coming through.
But you think like late 20s, mid to late 20s, doing really
Playing
well,
Origin.
playing those big things. You can pretty much. Maybe a little bit more back then, probably a little bit less so now, but you can get away with a lot. And you
More
probably
so
both.
back then. Less now. When you look at interviews after games, players that like you take the Munster interview the other night. They go, "Are you going to have a beer for your birthday?" No, we've got a 6-day turnaround. That's only just come in recently.
Yeah.
But back in years ago, it was I'll be getting blind and waking up on the floor. But it has changed, and to be fair, if you don't change and you're not like that, you won't handle NRL now, because it's
big business.
They're just too good. It's a business, and the players are the good players and the guys that are in the top 10 making money. They're making business money.
Oh yeah, they are a business.
They
So
become
they're
a business,
sacrificed.
and when they finish,
They can drink
they're their own business. So, for instance, Tedesco's just about to sign a 5-year deal.
6 million.
Yeah, well, 6 million. So he's his own company, he's a business when he finishes. Like, he won't have to work. He'll probably have employers for him because he's brand.
Yeah.
But back then, to answer your question is, after a game and you win, if it was more so Canberra, because it was like I was the new kid on the block. Then at the Roosters, it's that club, and then Cronulla, you win on a Sunday afternoon straight to Northers, and you're like a rock star. And I guess it feels good. But
Okay.
looking back
Of course it is,
now, I'd kick myself in the ass and say, well, like, go home and have a beer with your mates, because that's what I enjoy that. I'd enjoy that more now, probably because I'm a little bit more. I don't need to go to a pub.
Yeah.
Like if I go to a pub on a Saturday, I'll go there and have a beer and a bet, and I'm happy to go. I don't have to go to a nightclub. 5 years ago, I was warming up to go to a nightclub. Like,
But that's that temptation though. You're talking
brushing
about
your hair and doing push-ups.
Couple of babes too. Just
spray tan.
But now it's like, I'll go to the pub and have schooners, and then go home and have a feed and watch the Saturday night footy.
That's the battle though. Like, I challenge any mid-20-year-old to be earning that sort of money and have that sort of notoriety, not to go out and not abuse it, but play on it. Why wouldn't you?
The risk, and now they just can't, because there's too many. And I guess they see what's around them now, the guys at the top, and how they're doing it.
yeah.
We see you don't hear Cameron Smith.
Nah.
But the thing is, like $6 million for 5 years. Like, that's what's that? $1.2 million a year. Like, I don't know anyone who would go out and go to a nightclub where, mate, now they got the biggest targets on their back because they're earning big bucks. They're earning bank every year. So what's it to say some fuckwit's going to come in and pick something? Well, then, here's $1.2 million for 8 hours on the piss and chasing skirt. It's not worth it. Like, you can't go out there, someone put a punch on you, you react because you are pissed. You're giving up $250,000 worth of your contract, or having the opportunity of getting locked up and your contract and being dragged through the mud and whatnot.
But that's easy to say for both of you, because like, with all due respect, it's easy to say now when you both are retired. But are you going to be able to tell someone?
No, should know.
Would you have been told?
Hell no.
No,
you know what I mean?
Like, well, that's how come we got into trouble, because we couldn't be told.
That's the battle, man. You can't tell anybody.
But I think the kids now, the kids coming through, don't need to be told, because they're so focused on their job and what they're about to achieve or what they want to achieve. Because if they don't have that headspace, they won't get picked, or they won't make that 30-man squad that's available to them now.
Yeah, those that aren't focused are long gone.
The coaches are too smart, like the Robinsons and like that will work out that this bloke's.
Yeah.
Even if like he only steps out for a little bit, they'll find out he's out, and that just won't be in Robbo's system.
That's like the
you get found out.
The Broncos.
You get found out. It's almost, we had a young guy come over he played 30 games for the Washington Redskins. He came over and played with the Ipswich Jets not in 2016. And I got talking to him. He stayed at our place a couple of times. I got talking to him about the system, and he said, mate, if you're in college, if you're not top of the class with all your classes, you don't play. So he said all the guys that play footy, they're not dumb like they were. Back when we had blokes there that couldn't spell, I couldn't read. But they're all educated kids now. They're all really educated. They know. The whole system's changed. From when league first started, then obviously when Elf come through, then I come through, then Toddy come through. Now it's just gone to a different level. Like these kids are so switched on with everything they're doing. And smart, like they're pretty intelligent young kids, and that's if you're not intelligent and you can't play and you can play football, then you got half a chance of not making it.
Well, and you'd see it firsthand from your nephew. Yeah. That if he went out, say if he was that kid that went out, I guarantee you, Boyd Corden or Tedesco would tap him on the shoulder and go, "Nah, you're not doing that."
Well, he got that. Like he came down as a young kid, excited. He was 17, and they had the season launch. And they were talking about giving him some beers, and Jake Friend actually walked over and said, "Mate, pull it up, mate. Listen, you're underage. Don't even think about it. Let's do the presentation, and you can go home." Those blokes see that they've been around now for 10 years plus. Identified that he was getting excited because it's his first season launch. He was only 17. There was booze around. There was some young kids geeing him up, and they said, "Mate, listen, time for you to go," because they want. Back in the day, it's a bit of a dog-eat-dog situation with getting into the first grade team, but they actually saw him as like, "Mate, listen, we know the rap's on you. We don't want you to fuck it up before you even start." So mate, on your
and it reflects on the club too. Yep. If the first thing will come out underage drinking and shit, because everyone's out to try and find that's a scoop.
Yeah, definitely.
Someone will be on top of that straight away.
Back when I was at Canberra, Jason Croker and that were feeding beers to me here.
I was about to say things change.
Used to playing the drinking game where it's a shot a minute.
Yeah,
I'm introduced to that, watching all around the team around there, and then it becomes a war between Ruben Wiki, one of the toughest guys ever played the game, and Josh Miller at the other end. Every other player was out. We're just sitting around watching, drinking our schooners normally. They're at the end of the table each, having a shot a minute. So the rules were you had to be done.
Makes you feel crook thinking about that.
One of them spewed into the jug. And everyone's going, cheering, we've got a winner. Next minute, the minute come again, tips the spew and the beer into his skull. He goes, I'm not out. Mate,
that's recycling. I'm back in.
So he wasn't out. So, like, that wouldn't happen now.
No.
That might happen.
Well, behind closed doors, no one would ever find that out.
No one would find out about it. And that's why the Roosters do it so well. If they win the comp or they go to LA and go on their holidays.
No one knows who they are.
Well, it's not that they know they are. They get them in an environment that they're comfortable in, and they don't need to
be looking over their shoulder every 2 seconds. Or if they,
do you reckon any reporters follow them to LA?
I think they'd be too scared.
But I've heard that there have been reporters. I've heard there's been reporters on the ground saying, "Listen, we've got the Roosters."
I've got a reporter's mind, eh?
Yeah, mate. What's going on? You might be a double agent. But yeah, I mean, hey, what's Well, I want to know what's the funniest story you've seen on a Mad Monday, or we talk about the drink. It just triggered my mind.
Yeah, you blokes must have some Mad Monday.
Well, I think I don't really remember. No, I guess I don't know
because they're a myth now. That's it. There's no more.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like I think, Mad Monday for me is the reason why I played football towards the end of my career. I was like, you know what, we're going to Mad Monday, or we're looking at going to Darwin for end of season trip, or going to Vegas for end of season trip. So that was just a goal. That was like the little.
Is that what got you through preseason?
Mate, that got me into rehab a couple of times. But as a team, that's like Wayne Bennett does it perfectly. He, regardless of win, lose or draw, and you're playing away. This is obviously before COVID hit. He'd always expect his players to go get on the piss with each other after games, and that was his big thing because. If someone has a bludger of a game or he doesn't pass me the ball a couple of times, you might get a little bit cheeky and give it to him, mate, listen, fucking pass me the ball next week. Whereas if I wasn't pissed, I wouldn't say it to him. It'd be on a formal level where everyone sort of drops their guard a little bit after they've had a few. He won't let guys obviously
punch on or anything.
Punch on or get maggot. He keeps it pretty controlled. And obviously, like Toddy said, now that the players, especially the older guys, they're so in tune with the young guys and how their emotions are and who they are and whatnot, they don't let it get to that far. And when they do, you had the old guys like Boyd come in and step in and go, no, get it. Boys, he's up.
Yeah. I think it's not really a Mad Monday story, but I remember when Peter Sharp took over at Cronulla, and it was a tough...
Sharpie.
He's a legend. Yeah, legend. We were struggling at a time, and it was a Wednesday. There was no train, and we got on the ferry to Bundeena where Bryce Gibbs lived. Went over to the Bundeena Tavern. All the boys just...
He looks like a champion bloke, that Bryce Gibbs.
Yeah, he's a legend. We just all just opened up the shoulders and just drank beers and punted all day. We were playing the Warriors over there on the Saturday or Sunday, so we'll fly into New Zealand on the Friday. We ended up beating them by 50-something.
Really?
Mate, Sharfie was dreading, I think, coming back on the ferry. I was up to the top of the ferry trying to rattle it around, making weird noises. And then we got off, and I don't know what time we got off the ferry, but I remember I was watching Sharfie grab Jeff Robson and go, don't let that bloke go anywhere near a pub. So we've all got off. Jeff Robson's like, no, I'll take him home.
Hey, Jeff Robson is a legend.
As soon as Sharfie takes off, Robbo gets me over and goes, come on, let's go. Everyone just all ventured to a pub. And there's no drama because, I guess because Sharpie let it happen. And
there was no pressure on the boys' end because the coach knew that the boys were all on the pitch. Yeah. It's when the coach goes, fuck, boys, we're not doing anything. We're not doing anything fun. They all go, well, I did.
But a resentment, eh?
Yeah.
Because I would be anxious as well having a profile and being out and not really having my wits about me.
Yeah.
That would make me anxious because then I'll be like,
you should see me on a Monday morning. Should see me on a Sunday morning and a Monday morning, sometimes Tuesday morning. I wake up, first thing I do is I ring 10 of me mates. I don't even know that if I've been with them. Listen, was I out with you last night?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, mate. I saw you walking down the road with the undies, you know. You go, oh, fuck, I'm waiting for the video to come
saw your
out.
birthmark again.
Dane Tills was always the bloke that messaged you next morning and go, mate, you can't be doing that. What do you mean can't be doing what? Saying you ring him, he doesn't answer. You're like, And I was living with Michael Dobson at that time. And Dobbo! Mate, what did I do last time? And he goes, no, nothing. Why?
Yeah.
I said, Tilsy's messaging this. I can't be doing this.
Thank God for no Photoshop back then. Eh? Do you really stitch the boys up, just do it, like Photoshop up some stuff and send it away?
Yeah, we were thinking about doing the old Photoshop same with the bubbler.
Yeah.
But I had a scar under my eye from the game the week before.
Oh, really? Like just trying to
you
get rid of it?
You could see that it was...
Did you know who took the photo?
Well, yeah, the guy that was there drinking with us ended up taking the photo. He reckons that he sent it to his brother, and then his brother was at the races that Saturday, so the Sunday night it come out. So a week later, his brother was at the races, started showing it to his mates, and next minute it goes like rapid fire.
Like a virus.
It is. It's like anything. Obviously, any story that gets out there, it spreads because there's so many players, there's so many ex-players, there's just normal people. Like, well, I think what incident was it that my under-16s in Byron had footage of the first ever the Napa thing last year.
Dylan Napa.
Yeah, so like
Big
I'm
puppy.
sitting there and then one of the 16s messages me, he goes, have you seen this? I'm like, how the hell does like a kid get this? And it's just phones. Well, it just goes. And then one person gets it's like, oh, I'll send it here, send it there.
And do you know what the worst thing is? Is 99.9% of it is just the boys showing the boys. I would see that photo of you and think that was like
hilarious.
Funny. And I'd be like, oh my God, like it's rough. But then that takes that 0.1% person that thinks.
Because the bubbler back then, it was big within the skaters too. Like this, like
that's the first time I'd ever heard of
Bear
it.
Grylls, he makes money from it.
Is that a Bear Grylls thing?
Well, no, but Bear Grylls does it properly, I guess.
It's actually healthy. It's good for you.
See, this was my when it first came out.
That's recovery.
Hydration.
It's recovery.
Yeah,
all the nutrients in your wee. That's what some people live off. But I actually said to my brothers, I said, you know what, Toddy should just come out and say, listen, I do it.
Yeah.
This is what I do all the time. It's
recovery.
Because I said, like, I actually said he can come out and say it's a religion thing.
I do it when do it every time I go to the toilet.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
It's actually a far more hygienic way of doing it because then you don't have a cup involved and then like
Just sit in the news like that.
Did that ever cross your mind? Did it ever cross your mind to go?
People message me. I got some weird messages.
Did it cross your mind to go? You know what? you know what, NRL, you're going to sack me or you're going to banish me because of my beliefs. And this is my beliefs. Every time I come watch me, David Gallup, because he was in charge then, wasn't he? Was it David Gallup?
No,
or was it Greenberg? Greenberg, come to my place.
Yeah.
I don't piss in the toilet. I go to the shower and I piss on myself, mate. Come look. I actually had that mindset to ring you and say, mate, you've got to go in and say, this is a ritual that I do.
Get on the front foot.
I used to, instead of weighing on the fence, I used to try and weigh over the fence.
You're just advancing it.
Yeah, so
It's actually
it's good that I can laugh about it now, but I guess.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious.
But some people still don't. So it's like it's World War.
Yeah, but people,
they've killed
some
someone.
people, some people get their nose out of
Calm
joint.
down, mate.
Yeah, some people are recreationally offended. They'll find anything.
Yeah.
Anything you could put out. Like, I've got.
Mate, people get offended by Donald
stuff
Trump.
I say on this, and no one gives a fuck what I got to say, but they still complain.
Yeah.
Someone will complain about that. It's just bullshit. Yeah. But that's their problem.
I was like, yeah, he's got to come out with some defence that it's a ritual. It's
didn't
something
think about
that he
that.
does. I do it all the time. I do it every night, every morning when I wake up. It's good for me.
It's good. Puts ears on your chest. Yeah.
Anyway, I want to know, did you get much in your mouth?
No, I don't even know if I did. Like I said, honestly, I wish I could remember it.
Oh, really?
Like, obviously, I can see the photo and think, this is how it's happened. I would have been like, but I don't. I don't remember it.
Oh, mate.
So what like you two can both answer this too. You're probably both qualified to it. Like if you follow any other sport, like rugby union in Australia, I follow rugby union in New Zealand. Obviously, I'm from there. And is there more ratbags in the NRL, or is there more because fuck like every week there's something like every week there's some three things there's something going wrong. Is it because it's blue collar? Then I thought to myself, it's because it's blue collar. No, well, it can't be because in New Zealand, rugby union's really blue collar.
No, I think it's because NRL's owned by the media.
And
then
that generates profit for them.
Yeah,
it's a show.
so and they.
Is that why they say it eats itself?
And to be fair, I think I'm not saying that rugby union players aren't well known, but NRL players are always on the back page of the Daily Telegraph.
Well, they are in New Zealand. They are.
That'd be.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, there's not much.
Yeah, but is Union over there owned by the media? Like league is owned by the media, and you know what?
No, it's not.
In 2004, they realised that the more shit that's going on in the game with the Bulldog stuff in Coffs Harbour, because this is I went through that period. I found that after that, the newspapers were selling copious amounts of more newspapers than they would just on a normal news day.
Yeah.
The more what's the word I'm looking for? More outrageous it is, the more papers they lose, the more papers they sell, or the more interest that they get from sponsorship and all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
Or is it reckon they're more because the rugby players are on the road more? Like they're all over the shop, so they're not always based in Sydney. They're either in Canberra, Melbourne,
South
Africa, New Zealand.
Yeah, but like then Cowboys get in trouble, Broncos get in trouble.
Yeah,
look at AFL. Look at AFL.
Well, AFL, they get in trouble.
They're lunatics, but
Are they?
They are.
I know a few of them.
I think I know the same
they don't seem
circles.
to. Like I've got a unique perspective because I'm very much the public.
Yeah,
Like I look at the news. I don't know the ins and outs of it, so I can look at it and I go, well, it doesn't look like AFL gets in trouble.
Well, I think because
Are they better at looking after themselves?
Probably better at looking
Like
after
their club. What I mean, their club.
and the people that are around them wouldn't dare, like I guess wouldn't rat on them. Wouldn't send something in if they seen him doing it because they love him.
So
where there's people out there that I guess want to bring someone down because they think you're a wanker.
Yeah.
Zeke, did you cop that?
Oh,
Like, because people's perception is always built on this bullshit you see, and we spoke about that before. Like, I know I've never met you before today. You seem like a champion bloke, but there's nothing honest,
exactly
a normal person.
yeah.
But before that, I could have said, he's probably from. I could have perceived, I could have generated the opinion that you were probably arrogant, didn't care,
Yeah.
and just a ratbag. Basically, it comes
Yeah.
in and
I think everyone thinks sometimes, and people probably don't think I am shy, but if I like it, they sort of take my shyness of arrogance.
Yeah.
But I can see people, if I walked in the pub with you three, or us 4, and there was someone over there going, they'd be straight away, because I'd be enjoying myself and he'd be the life of the party, Chris would, because he's a little bit more. But then as it starts to go with 2 beers and 3 beers, and start to get a little bit more comfortable because I get more comfortable with the people around.
Yeah.
But if I'm walking through the shopping mall on my own, I'm trying to ring someone or trying to text like I'm busy, so I don't have confrontation because I'm shy. Like
you don't want to embrace it.
I get uncomfortable. Like if I walk into like an event or to a dinner or something, it's just me and Mrs. I'm sort of looking around, people thinking, fuck, someone's thinking I'm this fucking idiot. And I sit down, I face away from people. Yeah. But then like once I'm in there half an hour and we're eating, I can start looking around.
Yeah, wow.
And that's what got me into trouble. That's where I was. I'm exactly the same as Toddy. Like I've known Toddy for a very long time, and I've always had that respect. And Toddy's always given people respect. Like I've been with people in the game that have got a really good persona, but are fuckwits and arrogant to people. But then Toddy's had a fight with a certain media outlet. They've portrayed him as this. He's done a few things that are wrong, hasn't got it covered up. Which, you know, some of the guys that I've met through rugby league who, in the public eye, are champions, but they're fucking arrogant when you go to dinners. They don't even give people the time of day where Toddy does, and you go, hang on, this is all because of 2 slip-ups or 3 slip-ups. The guys that the media, they've gone, right, we've got ourselves a villain. We need a villain. Yeah. We always need a villain. Yeah. And unfortunately, Toddy's gone into that villain side where you won't meet a nicer bloke. Like you won't, I'm not saying that because you're here, but generally, Toddy's just like everyone, like you and I. Have a chat, have a conversation.
That's pretty sad too. That
it is.
You feel like you have to be like that.
Yeah.
Like I can understand it, but I can't empathise with you. Like I'd hate, it would suck to have to walk in and go, what's that person thinking? About me?
And that's where you got your resilience of.
Yeah. Now it's faded away a little bit because I'm past or the football thing, and like I go to the beer and have a bet and have fun and don't really give a rat's ass. Yeah. Not that I carry on anymore. I probably get pissed and wake up not know what I've got up to, but the spotlight's not around me, and I don't have to go and then get blind drunk, so I don't worry about what people think. I can just go there and relax and float around the room and talk to anyone.
Is that why Sydney's a melting pot too for it? So if you're in Sydney, you're under the spotlight in Sydney.
Yeah,
you know, like probably I would assume that people would know where to go if you want to. Like if the Canela Sharks are playing on a Saturday, you know where to go and where they'll be.
Yeah.
If you got your ear to the ground.
Well, yeah, back then, but to be fair, like the boys that I still talk to and really close with, like they just have a beer at home.
Yeah, not worth it anymore.
Yeah,
less trouble.
You make a valid point about that, about the media. I never actually thought about it like that, how the media actually own. So it's in their special interest to have villains or to have people that are going to. Villain's probably the wrong word because that's a bit. Well, you know what I mean.
Yep.
Have people that they know and they need to just watch because at some stage or another.
They'll slip up.
It's just it's a matter of time.
Yeah.
And I just thought you're probably at the BWS then if Toddy left with a box of beers.
Yeah.
Just get your ear to the ground because he's probably on it.
Well, that was the same after the bubbler thing, and I admitted, I said if I didn't get in trouble from that photo, I was bound to get in trouble that year.
Really?
Just because I don't know, I just was going through that stage in my life that I get comfortable in myself and playing good footy. When I got sacked, I got the week before I got man of the match. So I wasn't playing bad, so I wasn't going out and getting pissed because I was in a form. So I was playing good footy, so I had that
feeling good.
Yeah, feeling good.
Are you the sort of person that has to have that mindset to play good footy?
No, I just need the mindset that, I guess my mindset was the same all the time. As long as I'm always focused, always trained hard, and always done everything that I need to do. But need that release in a good time.
So that's it's a weird dynamic, isn't it? Because people like yourself, and I can't think of any other examples of people who are playing really well, but they love a beer on the outside.
Yeah,
probably somebody you as well. That sort of, and for a coach, they'd have to be like, well, I want to give him. Probably Andrew John's a little bit like that, was he? Like he loved the beer, so the coach had to sort of try and find that happy medium where he's having a good time, but he also shows up.
Yeah,
and it's like,
pull it up a little bit.
If he's pulling up, if he's going to burn the candle at both ends, it's like, fuck, what do I do?
Yeah, so I guess...
And that's why Wayne Bennett's probably so good because they're people managers, you know?
Yeah, managers, but I guess, flirting with danger then, because like I said, if there's little things that didn't sort of get put in the media, but there was things like I was caught in the office going, "Oh, what'd you do last night? Were you a bit pissed? Where? How'd you get home?" Well, fuck.
Yeah, you tell me.
Well, the cab driver just sent a message to the club saying that you were yelling out obnoxious and stuff.
Yeah, halfway out the window.
The wrong thing. Well, like obviously, every man and his dog hangs out the window and carries on. But because it was me, he felt the need that he had to message the club, which is, I guess, he feels that that's his job. He has to. He might be a Sharks fan, so he's like, "Oh, I might tell him so he doesn't do it again, because it might be next time he might."
Fucking fall out and die.
Yeah, fall out, or he abuses someone, or yells at someone, and then they clock him or whatever.
Or he's one of those people that are recreationally offended and they feel like they have to go and tell on you. Cause
exactly. Yeah,
the other kids that told on you at school, they're just growing up.
Yeah.
You know, like, because they do grow
They're
up.
driving
They just
cabs.
Or it could be someone who bitter because he never made it. And he sees you guys making it where he wanted to be and thinking, "Oh, fuck, I worked hard and didn't make it." And these guys are carrying on, they still made it.
I just don't know how they have the need to get home from work and driving around all night. So he's dropped me home at 3 a.m. He has to email someone at 5. Like, I just dropped him home.
That's what happened when I got in trouble with the Titans. I was on a drinking ban. Same thing. I was on a drinking ban. John Cartwright obviously had a lot to do with me at the Roosters. I got sacked from the Roosters because of my drinking. They signed me, and Cardi said, "Right, part of the deal is you can't. You know, if you're going to be part of this organisation, we don't want you to drink. We want you to have a good time, but don't drink." So I ended up breaking my thumb. Our first ever game for the Titans, and then 5 weeks into my rehab, I went out, had a mate's birthday party, went to Melbourne's, had a few drinks, and I walked past this guy. I bumped his elbow. He spilled his drink. I had a drink in my hand. He turned around, saw it was me. I apologised to him, walked out. He woke up that morning. I woke up that morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. I had an email from Michael Searle saying, "Mate, you've got to get in the office. We need to have a chat." This is on a Sunday morning. I was like, "Fuck, here we go." Mate, he got home. I think the email comes through at like 5:30 in the morning. He got home at 5:30, sat down with an email saying Chris Walker's out of drink. I thought he wasn't supposed to drink. It was in his contract. He bumps my drink over. I go to rehab for 3 weeks and don't play for 21 weeks. I got suspended for 21 weeks by the club because
21 weeks.
21 weeks. I got put back into reserve grade, and spent 3 weeks in rehab. Now, it's just human nature. Like, this guy is obviously filthy that I was playing first grade and he never got the chance to. He probably played under sevens grand final. That was his big glory day.
Match.
And he thought it was his. But I mean,
I just can't.
like
No way of justification will make me understand that.
I would
I
like
can't
to
understand
sit him in there and not have a go at him, but ask what was the
driving force.
What made you email the club, and when you seen on the news the next night that Chris Walker had been sent to rehab and missed 21 games, what was you feeling? Was it like,
yes,
yeah, I've celebrated because I've wrecked his career? Well,
I think 99% of them are going to be embarrassed they did it.
Yeah.
Because really, like, when the repercussions come, they're probably wild. He's probably like saved up all his money to buy that drink, and you spilt it. You could have.
Probably should have offered him
probably
another 2 drinks.
Yeah, hindsight maybe, but
Toddy, I mean, I couldn't think, me personally, for someone's misery to make me happy. I couldn't think that, you know
mate,
what?
There's plenty of people in the world that are like that, though.
This guy's on $200,000, $300,000 a year. I'm going to go fuck him. Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to feel good about it. Toddy, I'm the same. Yeah, but there's people out there. There's vindictive people out there that want to see someone fail to make their own life happy. And then, you know, Toddy, you talk about, you know, when you do go out now, you don't really care what people think. I'm the same way. I couldn't care if anyone liked me, loved me, hated me, or wanted to kill me. I couldn't. Doesn't bother me one bit. Is that just the resilience that you build up over your time of playing footy, or have you always been born like that?
Oh, I've always been born like it. Like, through my times, obviously the negative stuff, and clubs have said to me, "Oh, say you've got depression, or go spend some time in a rehab or something." I'm like, well, no, because I don't need to, and like, people go in there because they feel they need to, and that's why, touching back on your story then, like, people might turn around and go, well, why was Chris out drinking then? Well, maybe you shouldn't have been, but do they know why you're out drinking? Maybe you're out drinking because you've just broken your thumb.
You're actually at a birthday party.
You're in a dark place, or you're at a birthday party, you're in a dark place, I'm going to have a few beers. It didn't harm anyone. Like, they got to, like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have been out, but
Yeah, it was part of your contract.
Do they know the deep why he was out having a beer? Well, yeah, he's gone to rehab now because maybe there was an issue. Do you feel proud of yourself because you've gone and
you've brought it up now?
You've brought it up. But yeah, to the resilience thing, I just like when Piercy first got in trouble, I rang him just because he's a close mate, and I said to him like, "Do you need some support?" And he was pretty upset, and he's going, "Oh, I've got to go to a rehab." But like, you don't have to. Like it's sort of like when he was going to Thailand and stuff, and I just sort of said to him like, you got to understand that when you accept to do that, you're going to have to live with that. And then he's sort of took it upon himself, and what he learnt when he was away, his Buddhism thing, and he does drawings now, and like sort of like relaxes himself by the things that he learnt doing that, which is good, and obviously it shows the way he's playing and stuff like that. And Piercy was never a rat bag anyway. It was an idiot filming him. On the beers.
Yeah.
Same thing.
I'd love to sit in front of that guy too.
Same sort of thing. But I guess I always had the thought, like I played footy because I loved it. I didn't play footy because I got paid well for it and the perks of it, because that's why I still play now. I don't have to get paid to play. Obviously, I do get paid to do the Byron thing, but if that was to wash up next year, I'd still play here on the coast and get $200 a game, and I'd happy to put it in for the boys after a game. Like it's because I enjoy the camaraderie of it, enjoy the challenge, and I still enjoy winning, still working hard and stuff. But I think that was just always the way it was, because as long as my family and friends were healthy and fine, football was a bonus.
Yeah.
I think
so if I lost it, it was like, well,
you got a good outlook on it, because I think like especially them saying, "Oh, why don't you say you got depression?" And then if you went to rehab for that depression, you by not actually having it, you almost, what's the word? You almost it's more like you're. It means that someone else who actually does have depression, it sort of puts a bit of a less thing on what they're going through.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, this is just my scapegoat, and then you almost become a reluctant ambassador for depression when you don't actually have depression.
Well, it was, and that was I felt was weak. Oh, well, you go say you got this, and you do your time away, and then we'll have you back, because all the pressure goes off the club then, because and all the pressure goes on me because I've got depression. They're not going to keep hounding me because
leave him alone now.
Yeah, leave him alone. Because
that's what happened with me, because I was one of I think he might have even been the first NRL player to enter rehab. So it was, I'll tell you what it was. It was just after, 2 weeks after Ben Cousins went to rehab. So the Titans almost did the playbook from West Coast Eagles.
Yeah.
So they virtually read their playbook and went, righto, Walks, this is what we're doing with you. And I was like, righto, well, fuck, we've got to do it. I actually remember saying to my missus, I said, well, it looks like I've got to save my career by going down this path. Now, I probably shouldn't have done it, but I did it because I didn't know. I was like, fuck, well, what do I do? Because no one had done it before. I couldn't ring you. I couldn't ring a Mitchell Pearce and say, listen, what path do I take here?
But it's weird, though, because like I look at people like you and probably like yourself as well, if they say, and Mitchell Pearce and that saying, go to rehab. I remember thinking once, there's not that many alcoholics in professional sport or guys that have battled. There's about
just idiots.
There's just young blokes.
It's just idiots.
There's blokes who love having a beer. They're not alcoholics. Like if you tell them, like they're not having a bottle of vodka before the game.
No,
like, that's an alcoholic or someone. You know what I mean? Like
or waking up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and feel
you
like
can't be high performing athletes and be an alcoholic. You just love a beer. And then I think it's such a cop out saying, "Oh, you got to go to rehab." That's just a saving face thing.
I did. I admit that's wholly and solely why I went there, because I'd just been sacked from the Roosters in 2005. 2006, I'd just been sacked by Melbourne Storm, so that was 2 in a row. So I didn't want to go down the third. I didn't want to strike out.
Yeah.
Because there was talk that the NRL were going to step in and disbar me, finish me, and be in the same situation as what you were. And I said to my missus, I just actually, no, I didn't, because I found out that I was having a kid when I was in rehab. So I found out Courtney was pregnant when I was in rehab. I was doing cartwheels. down the hallway, going straight past all the classes.
Where was Dad when we told you?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just holidaying and
holiday and crumbing
on a holiday.
Yeah, exactly.
3-week forced holiday by the Titans. But I mean, we've been through both sort of eras where you could go out, you had a croaker, Wiki, go and listen, grabbing you by the ear. I had Elf, Kevy. They'll grab you by the back of the neck and go, righto, we've finished a game. Here's a Corona, Crown Lager, 4X Gold, and we're not drinking. We're not stopping until tomorrow morning. And now they chuck you a sandwich and a fucking
protein shake.
And say, listen, let's start preparing for next week. Well, we wouldn't start preparing until Tuesday.
And you need to do it now, and the teams that probably don't are the ones behind.
The Broncos aren't on the beers.
Don't get me started. I had a couple of fights with the Broncos boys.
Walks is playing next year.
Oh dear. So do you find that when you get your when you're playing now, do they put a bit of a bullseye on you?
Yeah, I first game this year I broke my ribs. Ryan, it was against Coogin, and then the bloke after it was a late shot, and then after the game he's like apologised. And a few weeks ago I heard that he's on Facebook asking where my Dally M and that is. Mate, it's part and parcel of it. Where's my Dally M and stuff? But it's
on Facebook. On Facebook.
I knew that was always going to happen.
Sounds like a champion bloke.
But no, actually, I enjoy it. I enjoy, obviously, like the same thing, just getting up to play. And we're not playing this year because I can't cross the border to play, so we pulled our team out this year.
Yep.
Which is a bit disappointing, but
Mate, there's a rumour going around the Crumb and Eagles.
Yeah, I went to Crumb and Eagles training, but just with my contract to Byron next year, I just sort of thought didn't want. Hopefully, touch wood, I didn't get injured, but obviously didn't play. So, but with having a contract in Byron next year, I thought it was just time to have a year off, and I guess just get my body to rest up and the old man.
Not as easy to get up on a Sunday morning anymore.
Yeah, I went and watched them play a few games, and it's obviously a little bit more fast and full on than the Byron footy. So I would have had the. I felt I would have, if I did play in the Gold Coast comp for them, I would have had to prove myself, which I didn't feel I needed to. So I thought, well, I'll just have the rest.
Actually, it's not a bad comp, the Gold Coast comp. Yeah,
this year it's heaps better because a lot of all the Queensland Cup players that don't play because that comp's on hold or it doesn't start till next year. So a lot of them are filtered back through there. So there's some good players running around.
Is there like is there an avenue, probably for both of you too, like where you can, like they might have a young NRL bloke or a young bloke come into the system where they think they might have like the tendencies to play up a little bit, and they can sit down and go, I'll go and have a cup of coffee with Todd Carney.
I've sort of not pushed the question too much to the NRL. I've sort of around the NRL, like in podcasts before, in a few interviews I've spoken about that. There's going to be another Chris Walker. There's going to be another Todd Carney. That not the same sort of
push. But
there's going to be someone that sort of struggles with the highs and lows of rugby league or struggles with outside life, having a beer, this and that. And obviously they've got people there that do it. But I feel that if they were to sit with us, I speak to Matty Elliott quite a bit. He's my first ever coach. He does that mentoring and sort of stuff with Minicello. And he always talks about, he goes, there's a platform for you to not coach kids, but to mentor them, to talk to them, if it's over the phone or if it's a Zoom call, just to have a friendly chat to them, to give your experience or what they're feeling like if they're going in that little sort of a rut. So yeah, I guess there's place for it.
I would think like it's almost wasted, like because like you said, like
it's all experience.
Looking back on it, you're like, I would have changed this. I would have said I'll go home and have a beer at home and not do that. Like it's almost it's wasted, that sort of grab them by the ear and say.
Yeah, before it's too late, I guess. And like it's too late for us now to go wind back the clock. And people always say, well, if you could wind it back, I said, well, if you could wind back your life, what would you do?
Oh,
so it's just a silly question. Of course, I would change it. Of course, I would change it. Of course, there's regrets because
just
you've
made
let
you the
yourself
person
down.
Made you the person you are today.
But would you change it to now because you've lived it? So there's no point changing. But everyone would change parts of their life.
All that's going to do is just put you in a shit mood now. Just going to be thinking about the past.
Yeah, so people ask me if I've got regrets with things I did. No, I don't, because I'm here. I'm sitting right here, right now, and I'm the happiest I've ever been. Like,
You've reached this podcast.
Yeah. We talk about. I mean, we've spent a bit of time on the lows. You had a great career. Mate, what's some of the things you look back with and you go, you know what, and you go, you know what, I did that. I'm number 155 of 400 players ever do, play for, your state.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, obviously playing State of Origin was obviously a dream come true, and only got to play 3 games, but I was quite lucky to, like, obviously test it with the best. I mean, we fell short by 1 point, a Cooper Cronk field goal by a future immortal, I guess.
Where was that one? Was that the one here at Suncorp?
Yeah.
I was at that game.
Yeah. Like
Queensland supporters, so it's all good.
They roll down the field and you're thinking 45 out, he's not going to go for a shot, and he does, and that ends up winning the game.
I remember that.
I think the whole year of 2010, from my year in 2009, not playing any NRL, living in Cairns, in Atherton with Mick Nasser, working behind the bar and just sort of regrouping from what happened at Canberra and my dad's death and stuff like that. So little things, and then just be thrusted into the Roosters, signed there mid-year when I was in 2009, and then to find out I was going to be playing fullback. So it all sort of was, everything was new to me. It felt like I was starting rugby league again. So then that year just sort of went, I guess, perfect, other than obviously losing the grand final. But just all in all was just, if I think back on it now, I always watch the highlights. I remember we had a few beers a few weeks ago and we had the YouTube clips going, and then you sit there and you think, oh, far out, that's me.
Yeah.
Like,
Holy shit, yeah.
Like if I feel like, not that I try and get myself up for footy and that now, but like if I felt like I was having overseas more, when if I felt like my form was down, I'd get the YouTube clip of when I was playing, trying to get a bit of a mojo back.
Yeah.
And you sort of pinch yourself and going, oh, that's you out there.
Yeah. Especially being in a bar the year before.
Yeah.
Like that's, people don't give that a lot of credit. Like that's not.
No, it's a good fight back. It's resilient.
Well, yeah, I would assume that, like whenever they talk about, I know there was, who's the Knights player who got done for drugs and he's trying to come back?
Jared Mullen.
I think about, like, I heard he was trying to come back and I thought, well, for starters, you see Sonny Bill coming back, and granted, he's a pretty special athlete. Did you play with Sonny Bill?
No, I played against him.
Yeah, you would have played. He would have come just after you left, did he?
Yeah, he went through 2 years after.
So you see him coming back and you think of Jared Mullen coming back, and then he's got all of that 4 years he was off of condition to try and sort of get back.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't just come back to you.
Yeah.
So you having a year off, granted you're probably still pretty young.
Yeah.
You still got to get in the groove of it and find your feet and to go all the way to Origin. And
yeah, I guess I read that article about Mullen. Hopefully he does get a crack at it. If not, he might get it shot overseas. For more reports, he's flying. He's changed his whole diet, and obviously he's learned his lesson. And yeah, all credit to him if he does get an opportunity. But I think, to the answer, just my whole career, obviously I look back now with all my mates and stuff, and always talk about to Susie about. She goes, well, if we ever get married, she goes, you're going to have this many people at the wedding. I'm going to have this many.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going. I'm inviting myself to that wedding. Don't worry.
Yes, and so like, they're the things that I love. Like obviously the moments and stuff I cherish and stuff. But most of all is just obviously the mates you get. The places I got to see, obviously when I went overseas and stuff, and just to live a dream, I guess. It's something I wanted to do. I was talking to my mum, was in Kingscliff last night. She was meant to be at my house, but she couldn't cross the border, so we went down to see her. We were sitting at dinner last night, and she was talking to Susie about we're talking obviously about us having a boy. And Susie was like, oh, what was Todd like when he was a little boy? And she goes, oh, he was quiet and shy. And she goes, there's just one video that I'll show you that you'll see who he is. And I was 4, Mum reckons. I was sitting in front of the TV watching Tina Turner sing Simply the Best. And I'm trying to sing it. And then she reckons I turned around to my cousin and go, I'm going to play for them one day, and was pointing at the Raiders. So I was just like...
No way, that's awesome.
So things like that is something that, I guess it's not fate, but it's something that I wanted to do when I was 4, and I went on and done it. And I guess they're the things that you're proud of. And it's obviously seeing your family. And the night I won the Dally M, looking down and seeing my mum there was obviously one of the proudest moments of my life. And obviously, so little things like that, just sort of the individual accolades, but then the team accolades and the mates you finish from it is the most important.
It's no wonder guys struggle away when they finish, because you become so close with your teammates and you see them you spend a great deal, probably more time with them than you do your family, and then one year it's just gone. And so you lose all that. Like you're with your mates all day, every day.
Yeah, I mean, you're training full time, so you're feeling fit. You're feeling, and then a lot of the players, because they're not in that financial situation where they can retire. I've never seen a player. We'll probably start seeing it in the future because they're starting to earn a lot of money. I've never seen a player retire from football and have enough money to retire for the rest of his life. So, your whole life goes from, back in the day, sort of when I retired in 2011, the big thing was for players to earn their $300,000 playing footy. They've bought their houses, they've bought their cars, they've bought whatever they're gonna make those repayments. The next best job they can do is go to the mines because they're picking up 150,000 to 200. So it's similar paydays, and you're working 12-hour days.
Yeah,
You're forced to be away from your family because most of the mines are, Central Queensland, New South Wales, or all out that area.
Yeah,
and they struggle with that identity because you're up at 6 o'clock. Work up at 5 o'clock. Work until 6. You go back to your donga. You do that. I'm just talking about the mine guys, but a lot of the guys, they've got to then change their whole lifestyle, sell some houses to get rid of their debt, and it becomes an absolute fucking pain in the ass. I went through it. Like I had my business and I had that to fall back onto, but a lot of players don't think about that because they think they're going to be playing until they're 45, 50, and then they're going to retire. It just doesn't happen, and that's why a lot of the players, they go through their through the dark days and they start drinking piss. I was drinking a shitload of piss. I was drinking more piss when I retired, and that's a shitload than when I was playing. So that's that sort of that balance, that juggling act, and that balance that they got to get used to. So I mean,
that's what you're going to be watching now. He's going to watch his 4-year-old son sit in front of the TV.
I dead set. I can't wait for Junior to
especially when he watches the Socceroos. You're like, oh fuck, he's going to be a Socceroo.
Mate, I can't wait to watch your young fella play. That'd be awesome.
Easy.
Blonde hair, curly blonde hair, hopefully.
Sweet. All right. Well, man, I appreciate you coming in. We finally
finally got me in.
Finally got you
down. It was good.
We have to have round 2 in a few months' time.
Two in a bar.
Hey? Yeah.
In me man cave. In me man cave.
Yeah, right.
I'm building, getting the man cave sorted straight away.
We're doing on location.
Yeah, sweet.
Sounds good, mate. Easy.
I'm in.
Sounds good.
I'm
Thank
in.
you.
Cheers.
Cheers, brother.
Thanks, buddy.
Cheers.